so fucking
Did we
epic.
talk about the Doctor Strange trailer?
No, we didn't, man. That Valentine's sucked the life out of
Literally.
us. Yeah, but that Doctor Strange trailer was so like pivotal. Like it was like they kind of confirmed something that Spider-Man No Way Home didn't do right in the trailers here. Oh my god, tell me what you thought about that.
Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
Like that's all anybody's talking about right now. And I had theories. A lot of people on TikTok have been saying the same thing. Like we might see the Illuminati. You had some different opinions too, but I think we
But
could see them.
you're
It
right.
might be different variations of
Yeah.
them because there's the multiverse, so we could see like maybe like Tom Cruise's like Iron Man, or the Reed Richards from the other Fantastic Four movies. It's possible, maybe not plausible, but the future's bright. But I'm just glad to see like Wanda and also Mordo back because I feel like we haven't seen him for like so long.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right about the Illuminati. I also heard, I don't know how to say his name that well, Ian Gruff or something. From the Fantastic Four like movies back then in the early 2000s.
I
Like
almost said
apparently,
Groff, like or
I don't
Goff.
know,
I keep
like
saying Groff,
Gruffin.
Goff the butterfly.
Goff, yeah, there you go. No, I think like some people were pointing out that he might be there, or it might be T'Challa, like a version of T'Challa. I'm not too sure. But also, I think you were right about that Captain Marvel lookalike. So Monica Rambeau, right? Monica, yes.
Well, I thought it was Nova at first, but a lot of people have been saying it's Monogram,
When they did
which
the
makes sense
AK,
because
yeah,
because isn't her daughter supposed to get like a spinoff is what I heard, right?
yes. What's her daughter's name?
Damn, I forgot already.
Maria
We're so bad with
Rambeau?
names on this podcast.
Maria, no?
Was it Maria? Hold on, let me look this shit up.
Maria. This time they're not blanks. No, well, either or, whatever. But no, I think. Well, oh no, you know what though? Here's the crazy thing. What if it is the mother? It's not. It's not the version that we know of. It's like it's basically like what if in a way, right?
Right.
So what if it's actually the mother? Because the mother was supposed to get the powers, right? So what if that's actually the mother, and that form of like
instead of like Captain Marvel, but it's pondered the question. What
if? Yeah, because the
that was the
powers.
moment that changed
Yeah,
everything.
there, that was it. No, I mean because so in WandaVision, the daughter didn't have like the powers really like Captain Marvel, right? So it's like very different. So here it kind of seems similar. So yeah, what if the color scheme probably will be kind of like that, but still it was kind of like a porcelain type of like uniform that we seen right there. I don't know if she's like an enforcer or something like that. I heard some stories like people were, I don't know how they got this, but like some people were saying that this is about like they want to destroy, the Illuminati wants to destroy the main MCU because it's messing up the multiverse.
Well, the Illuminati in the comics have always been like a bit of like like controversial thing because in a way like it's funny because they're comprised of superheroes, but in a way they're kind of like world domination in a way, right? Because they're kind of like manipulating aspects of the Marvel universe, to suit their goals. Which you could say is like a little bit of like a power control thing, but I think because I think even like each one of them had like their own infinity like gem, like because they didn't want it to be like Thanos to find it or like somebody like Doctor Doom, so they each had like they hid their own infinity gem. My question is though, because a lot of people have been talking about this too. There was a glimpse of like a shard in the poster, and we could possibly see Wade Wilson. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, that's true. I seen that as well. I'm like confused about that because it was really like zoomed in. But the silhouette like looked pretty like spot on to like that. It could be. I mean, I saw Captain Carter, like the shield of Captain Carter. It could be. I mean, if Patrick Stewart is in here, this will be an interesting way to introduce Deadpool to the universe. The only thing that sucks is like, you have Spider-Man. Everyone wants to see him interact with Spider-Man. And we just had that movie, so we don't know when we're gonna get another movie, and that's like really Sony like heavy. And it's like, is this going to revert everything? Is this the movie where like everything just got like up to this point everything got worse after Endgame, after Loki, Spider-Man? everything got worse. So this is kind of like the big war that happens to like revert everything. I feel like it's gonna end where everything is reverted, but it's like fractured. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that pottery that the Japanese. It's like an ancient tradition where they close it, but like it's like gold lining. It's kind of like gold for us,
Ah,
right? Because
yeah.
we're big fans
Hmm.
anyway. So it's like, oh, now these things are combined. So like I feel like that's kind of my metaphor
Like
for
all
that
these
or
like
whatever.
pocket events that we've seen like just come together nicely. Like,
Yes.
because I want to know what the catalyst of all this was. Was it Loki? Was it WandaVision, or was it Spider Man? Or is it just like a combination of all three, like you said? Just like
Yeah.
the timing of these events. Because I want to know like what the timeline of these were. Like, were they happening simultaneously, or were they happening like in different time periods? Because if it happened simultaneously, I think that would have a bigger effect on like the multiverse. And then just like, I don't know, that strenuous like breaking of reality. That's probably what Baron Mordo was saying too. Like, your desecration of reality won't go unpunished. So I feel like, but is that solely Strange's fault, or is that like also like on Sylvie too? Because like I wonder, like, because I have a good feeling we're gonna see like her and Loki too. Because I thought that
Yes.
cloud thing also that it was in the trailer. I thought that was it like Azog, the purple cloud
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Um,
That's what I thought it was.
no, I think really, um, I think that it's unfair for Strange. It's like an unfair situation because Strange is the only one that could kind of tap into those elements, and he's the only one that he's like he has expertise in it, right? Like you can't get Spider Man to like do this thing to like save everybody because it's kind of like Strange's realm. So it's kind of like unfair that he has to like have this heavy burden, and he needs the help from Wanda. So in a way, it is his fault, right? But like really, his fault was just because so with Iron Man, was that really their destiny to like they had to like maybe they were all really supposed to die, right? But he kind of broke the rules there. And also, maybe that created a paradox. And also, Sylvie did what she did. And also Strange, like he kind of fucked up, or at least Peter kind of fucked up, but then he fucked up too. So
At
it's
least
like
Strange fixed his problem. You know what I
he
mean?
fixed it, but it's like it's still kind of shattered. 'Cause obviously, then we have the events here, and that was the end credit. So that leads up, like Spider-Man: No Way Home leads up directly into this. And then my thing is too, if Sylvie's involved, you have to like kind of explain more about like what's going on with Kang, right? So, and here's the crazy part is that Kang really will be like, Blueface Kang, like in Ant-Man Quantumania. So it's like maybe this problem wouldn't get fixed. So I don't know. Kevin Feige said their Endgame was the last Avengers movie. So maybe in a sense, this is like a big like time war. This is their way of like, this is the next event. Is each movie is kind of its own event, and it has so many opportunities. How will it be healed? Like everything can't mix together, because it creates multiple paradoxes, and so it's like they just can't. They can't like stay on one Earth. So I don't know. I in my mind, I would love everyone to go back and like have like a free door that you kind of come through each time, but we don't need them to interact. They could have their own movies. But like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm confused by that. And you know what really fucked it up from the very beginning is the Marvel situation that everyone has like a piece of these characters. I think they did a really smart thing to do this, and I think everyone's now being really generous. Like all the studios, like, yeah, let's, here you
Hmm.
go, here you go. I don't know, and
I mean, it's
reboots.
it's a nostalgia bait thing too. Kind of, I feel like it's like fan service is playing a little bit into it, but in a good way. And I kind of wish DC would. Well, they're kind of doing this with Flashpoint, but
Mm.
I wish they would kind of like do it in the way that Marvel's doing it. Yeah, like the multiverse is like the perfect platform, I guess, to tie every like pocket franchise, or what I call like every pre MCU movie, which we're actually gonna have an episode later down the line to talk about. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a smart way of tying them all together, and then just. But it's weird because like certain characters were like recasted too, because like it's gonna be hard to see. Maybe we just have Reed Richards from Fantastic Four, because remember, like we also have Chris Evans played Human Torch
Mm.
in Fantastic Four. So like, are we gonna see him as Human Torch, or is it just Reed Richards? So it's like certain casting choices are weird too. So you have to work around that too. Um, And then also, I just hope like the movie doesn't take away too much from Strange. Uh, kind of like Spider-Man, like Spider-Man. Like I feel like it was a good balance. Like at the end of the movie, I still felt like it was Tom's movie, and I feel like all the other like supporting casts complemented his story, and didn't take too much away. So I hope like Wanda and Wong and Mordo, like I hope they're just like, and America Chavez, like I hope they're just there just to like support Strange and not like take away too much from his movie too. But
Yeah.
it looks great. I mean, the trailer was awesome. I didn't expect to see like so many elements and so many reveals. You know, especially Marvel. I know they like to hold back a lot on their leaks. So I can't wait for that. There's a lot of great content coming out. The Boys just released a couple things actually. They have an animated kind of like What If series. It's called Diabolical. It looked really cool. And
Yeah.
I just saw on Twitter this morning. They have like a couple. They wrapped up 4 out of the 8 episodes. They're just trying to work with the visual effects right now. But we should get potentially a trailer really soon. So I can't wait to talk about that.
Oh boy. Oh boy, what? Oh
Oh boy,
boy,
what?
like in 3 weeks or so, we're gonna get a trailer. Yeah, I just can't wait. I binged The Boys. I've watched that show like season 1, season 2. I'd say like maybe 4 times, just because it's so good, and you kind of want to like a refresher every now and then. That cartoon looks crazy though. I think that's like mostly, so that's like mostly like from the comic. I would say like that's like actually trying to adapt it straight from the comic. I'm not too sure though. I thought at first I thought it was like a prequel to like, but then
That's
I
what I
saw,
thought too.
yeah, but then
Yeah.
I saw Simon Pegg's face at the end. I was like, oh shit. And anyway, Butcher, he did look like a lot like the comics. So I was like, oh, okay.
But it could also be like a good refresher, like before going into actually I don't know which comes first. Does that come first or season 3? Because I thought season 3 was supposed to come out in June or something.
Well, this was just announced. I isn't this coming out in May, I believe? I think this is coming out in May. Diabolical. Right? Isn't that what it's called? The Boys Diabolical or
Yeah,
something?
the Boys. Hold up.
Yeah, because
Diabolical.
that's so The Boys is coming out in June. Well, that'll make sense if this comes out in May, to be honest with you. So this is like a cartoon, not everyone's
Oh,
into it.
March. Okay, so it's coming out in March. March
Ooh.
4th is the first episode. Okay. So yeah, this would actually be like interesting because this could actually, because we all, we have Soldier Boy coming into season 3. So it could be like a good refresher like on the boys, but also like, world building, kind of like, seeing like other of the other heroes that we've had in the boys universe before that. Because we got a lot of exposition in the last season where they were talking about like the origin of what was it called, that blue chemical Compound V.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of origins like on the history of like Compound V and like how other heroes like sprang up from like World War II and stuff. So it's cool, but I think it mostly just like just like a comedy thing. But it looks interesting.
It looks really great. It kind of reminded me of Invincible.
Yeah, a lot like Invincible,
Animation is
yeah.
different here, obviously. So Dylan, so it's coming out on March 3rd, you said, right?
March 4th, I believe.
March 4th. Are we gonna do a review of that?
I would love to do
I'd love to
anything
do
boys
it.
related. I will touch on. Like
I would love it. Yeah, we should
I
definitely. That's gonna
I
be
love
fun.
the boys so much. It's so much like Peacemaker in a way too. It's just like that maturity aspect. It's not it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it still has like great storytelling and like action elements like Avengers too. So I would love to do a series on that. I can't wait.
That's gonna be really
But
fun. Yeah.
but yeah, make sure you guys like stick around for our podcasts, and we'll give you more content. And I would love to announce that we actually hit 1K on Anchor.
Wow.
We did it,
Hey,
Joe.
We did it, Joe. Yay.
So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
We can't do this without you. So thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. And actually, this is going to be our last episode of season 2 of our podcast.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. Our first episode for season 3 of our podcast starts probably next week. And we're going to do our favorite DC animated movies. So that's going to be fun. I can't wait to rewatch all the other, because I forgot a lot of the other DC movies, honestly. I just rewatched Superman Red Sun. That's like one of my favorites.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one. That was a great movie.
I have to rewatch the Green Lantern one because I forgot a lot about it.
Yeah. I can't wait to do that. I feel like a lot of Batman stuff is going to be on our list, and we also have the Batman psychology thing coming out fairly soon, and also the Batman movie That's gonna be wild. Like a lot of DC related stuff coming soon, and then also like a little mixed bag of tricks. But you know, we also have Moon Knight too, so that's cool. So we can't wait to show you guys what we're working on.
I know. Well, with that said, grab your seats and let's have lunch. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. Welcome to our finale review of Peacemaker, episode 7. It was an awesome episode. Really like ended on a good note. A lot of action, a lot of drama, some reveals to some bigger elements were involved. Akram, started off for us. What were your initial reactions?
This is not episode 7. This is episode 8. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You
We're
said
so
episode
bad with
7.
episodes.
It's episode 8.
I thought it was episode 7. And you know what's so funny? We said we were gonna mess up too. Episode 8. I'm sorry. Take us through it.
Episode 8. Yeah, man. I feel so sad that we're finishing this another season of like a show that we reviewed, but I felt like it has a nice like soft spot in my heart. I'm being too cheesy right now, but it was a great show. And obviously this episode I feel like was like a great finale, very action packed. I thought everyone was gonna die. This felt like a version of Suicide Squad, really, which is interesting, right? Yeah, but Peacemaker, like there's some lingering problems that he has after this. There's some more trauma or damage he's got, and maybe perhaps he's a little bit broken. Besides that, I just can't wait for the future of Peacemaker, right? Because it's been announced. Season 2 is on its way, right? So, but without further ado, as always, Dylan, take us through it.
All right. Well, this episode is titled "It's Cow or Never." So obviously, we got to see, we saw it in episode 7, but the butterfly's main source of food was this giant cow, which Economos kindly calls it a kaiju. He's like, "No more kaiju." They're trying to get this cow off world, and it was so like revealing too, because I know we're jumping ahead, but like just like the origin of the butterflies, I thought was so interesting, because really they're just trying to survive. It's not even like they're trying to like take over the world or like Starro, just like try to dominate planets. It's just like they're really just trying to like survive and adapt, and this was their home world. And really they were trying to save like humanity from destroying themselves in a way, and I thought that was so there's such like great like semiotics in that. And Peacemaker, it was kind of like a reflection of himself too, like what will you do for peace, right? How far will you take it? Because then it just becomes like fascism, right? Just total control of like humanity. But going back, so they're trying to, and obviously this was right after Peacemaker killed his father. So like you said, he is going through like emotional trauma after that. He's still not fully registered. We saw that in a couple scenes where like he's having like visions or like hallucinations of his father. At first I thought that was like the helmet, like because the closer he got to the helmet, maybe I was thinking like that's like some like, I don't know, because maybe he knows like the helmet is linked to his like genetic code or something. So I was like, maybe like it's like an image or something. But I think that's just like him just like hallucinating and just like not fully registering him killing his own father. And he's still like there inside him in the very end of the episode. Like we can see him like sitting with Eagly and his dad. So I don't think he's fully processed killing. I don't think he feels bad about killing his dad, but at the same time, it's a lot for him to consume. And also we lost Murns in the last episode, so they're kind of like on their own. Harcourt is kind of like leading the team now, so she's kind of like fulfilling this like leadership role. Adebayo is kind of like not sure like what her situation is with the team, like if she really wants to stay. But I think at the end of the day, like she just wants to like save the world. Yeah, great character, and then obviously like Vigilante is Vigilante. So there was a great like bonding moment between all of them. And they had this like elaborate plan, like so we got to see like all the helmets for Peacemaker. We lost 2 of them because Eagly can't talk human.
That was so funny.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, I know. I thought
I
that he
kind of
was
want to
gonna be a
see
butterfly.
like how sensitive is that helmet though? Like when she said like activate like anti-gravity.
Damn, that's like
But like it wasn't sensitive enough. Like when it was up in the air, like he could just like deactivate and then it fall down. Like I don't know. It was just funny to me.
that was a great moment. I love Eagly, man. I'm mad. I really did think that he was gonna be a butterfly and he was gonna speak or something. I thought that
All
was gonna
right.
happen at the moment. Remember we were speaking about that? That was really fun. That was that like that whole scene was really fun. It's always a joy to see Economos and Vigilante try to
I know.
like I don't know, just try to work through it. It's kind of like a language barrier, but like of minds. It's like
I have no idea what the fuck this
yeah,
argument is anymore.
I know.
Just like,
It was a really sad episode too, honestly. It was a really I feel like a hurtful episode for everybody. Everyone got hurt in various ways, right? Um but yeah, that scheme too. I mean, guess who, gets to be a hero again? Economos. That was really cool. And Economos, so obviously, like going through it, Economos has to there's a plan. They took out a security guard or like an officer, and that officer apparently shit himself. So then Economos has to dress up as that officer, and he's reluctant about it, and he's going to pretend he's one of the butterflies. While they have the helmet, they retrieve the helmet after a lengthy kind of discourse that Peacemaker had with his father in the woods, right? And so they have it in a duffel bag. Taped there is a radio, and Autobio's about to say the magic word, right, to activate, and they're hopefully trying to blow up the cow. But things go awry because I don't blame Economos. I would have been scared shitless. He was like, "Fuck this, fuck this." He throws up.
would have been a
Um,
double shit in your pants.
Right, I know, and this, so short. Long story short, he does like leave, and like he's like hectic. I was like, dude, shut the fuck up in my mind. And like the saddest part, honestly, was when that cop came, and they were having this conversation about the human you inhabited, right? And Economos is like he has to be so revealing, and it's kind of sad in a way. Like this whole show is about breaking down these characters and these barriers and kind of softening you up. And that's why I think Peacemaker later on he did break down, and that's why he's seeing ghosts, which is funny. Out of everyone, the most villainous person he probably ever has fought was his father, and so that's the ghost that remains. And so Economos has to reveal this, and it makes Peacemaker feel sad, right? And one thing that stuck with me, and which is funny because Goth has a conversation later that we'll talk about with Peacemaker, but he says like humans are pathetic, right? And like that really struck me in a way because I'm like thinking like, yeah, we really are. I mean, we put up all these boundaries in a way. uh John Economos's like dye for his beard. It's the same like fashion, the same thing that Peacemaker's doing with his muscles and the elaborate costume and stuff like that. It's just a front really, and it was really revealing. It was really sad. But I'm interested to see what you think about the big battle. So tell us what happens next.
That battle, I actually, it's not as on the grand scale like as Suicide Squad, but it
Mm.
was really close. And so funny because like a lot of people are saying like Out of Bio is like the new John Wick.
Yeah, she was doing Gun Kimbo. Yeah,
Right? She was doing gun fu.
yeah. I was like, whoa.
But Peacemaker, I mean, actually, yeah, Peacemaker, Vigilante, and Harcourt, they were like their combat chemistry was so fluid, like even the way like they were fighting like to the tune of the theme song, like was really cool. Like they were like supporting each other, helping, and then like Peacemaker pulls out this dope ass like Captain America shield, kind of just like going to town on people. The way like Vigilante is like he's using his machete and like his guns, and like Harcourt, like she's such a total badass. So I love that whole action sequence. It was really nicely done. And even like when Adebayo stepped in, like she held her own for like a couple bit. I actually thought Harcourt and Vigilante were gonna die for a bit because like I think he got shot, and then he was just like, oh no, and then he's like he threw this knife like to
Right.
someone behind him. So I thought he was gonna die from it. I was like, oh shit, they're gonna just kill him off like that. And Hardcore was really like close to like dying too. Like I thought, like, oh shit, like is she gonna make like this weird like honorable sacrifice? But I don't think they would do that because they just killed Murns off, and I think they really wanted her to like step up and be like the leader of like maybe the Suicide Squad or Task Force X. But I don't think that's gonna happen now, just because of that ending clip. But we'll talk more about that. But yeah, I thought she was like close to, and the butterfly almost like inhabited her body too. But I actually didn't think that was gonna make sense because like if she's gonna die, why would you try and inhabit her body?
I know.
I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, I love that scene. And then we get that scene like where Chris, he's stuck. He fell down in the barn, and he's like trapped under all this like rubble. And then we think Adebayo's gonna bail him out, but it's actually Goff when he inhabited that detective. So we get like this great little like fight between them. Adebayo steps in and she has like Peacemaker's helmet and she's like, activate human torpedo. And then
That's
she
so
completely misses and then hits her head.
that was so
That
sus.
was so
That was
stupid, but it was
that
just
was
the
stupid.
funniest thing.
I was mad.
It was like T'Challa saying like Wakobi, no.
No, stop this. No. I was
And
so mad. That's the
it was
stupidest
like
ever.
when like Harry Osborn like hit his head on the on the bump, like when he
It's,
fell off the glider.
everything goes quiet. It's like, dun, go.
No, that was so funny. But then yeah, we get so Goff spares Peacemaker because they need three people, right? So she needs him and what's that other guy's name? Locke to activate this teleporter to get the cow off world. So and then we get like a great, like debate between them, like what their true intentions are. Obviously, they're not just here to dominate Earth. They're just trying to survive. And Murns was actually like not like a radical, but like I think he was more empathetic towards humanity, and he felt like we shouldn't be like trying to control these people just for our own survival. We should leave these people to make their own choices. And it's so funny because I just watched Superman Red Sun. There was like similar like semiotics in there too, like humanity, like trusting humanity to make their own choices, to become their own utopian without the influence of like mind control or like just like something like power over them, right? So they don't want to see like Earth turn into their own world, but at the same time they kind of have to survive too. So I think it was a great scene. And then like Peacemaker's having like flashbacks like toward his brother and stuff, so he's really like he's looking at himself, right? Because he's like because she mentions like you are the Peacemaker, right? This is what you were made for. So you're supposed to help us, right? Because anything you said, you do anything for peace. And then he's just kind of like rethinking his whole, philosophy. But I think like in the end, like he's not really about. He always says he's about peace, but I think in the end he's just really about protecting people, right? Or his own fucked up way of protecting people. Because he even says at the end of the episode, they were gonna kill like Adebayo and Harcourt and Vidge. So I'm glad that like he chose like his own. He was loyal to his friends, than just like what he was made to do, right? So the conflict with his father may have ended, but that was really the conflict with himself, in a way. So I'm so glad that they introduced that scene because it was such like in the middle of all that action and comedy, it was just like a nice like breathing room where actually we get to see like these like light nice and James Gunn always does this. He always throws like these little like deep sad moments like where these characters have to make these fucked up choices. But wait, tell me what you thought of that scene because it was just such like nicely done in my opinion.
Yeah, like everything you said, plus, yeah, everything's about self-reflection. We talked about this before that there isn't like a lot of references to the DCEU, but we'll talk about more later. Something huge happens, but it's like it's more, which I do appreciate. It's more I like when you take these characters that seem one dimensional and you kind of break them down into bits and pieces, and then they have to like rebuild themselves and kind of make something better, right? And like that whole thing, I feel like in a way everyone like with all these relationships that just happen throughout the show and then in this episode and out of kind of like that small like defeat that they felt, they kind of built something new, or at least they took something home with them. Obviously, Peacemaker's a little bit more, I feel, damaged. I mean, he's taken home with him his own father, right in his head. But in a way, it's like a realization, like you were saying earlier. Again, like what was funny, he was speaking to Goth, and all I kept on thinking was Peacemaker, what a joke. And I kept on thinking
Red
like,
flag. Yeah.
yeah, like I feel like that really and I think we talked about this before in the Suicide Squad review way back in season 1. It's like I feel like that's gonna resonate with him for a very long time. And I think that all these little elements that happen throughout the show of season 1 and this episode I don't know, maybe Peacemaker will be no more. I loved that whole scene because what Goth was saying was like, obviously minus the whole mind control thing, Goth was like right about. It's kind of like the thing where people say like Thanos was right. Goth was right, and I really like which is funny. A lot of things now, like even in the Eternals movie, we talked about, um, like they're trying to save the planet, and all of a sudden I forgot her name that she runs fast, like passes oil rigs, right? That's basically polluting the earth, and it's like here. Um, Goth is completely right, but at the same time too, it's such like a fascist thing, like you said, and it provides like an opportunity. Why Peacemaker? And here's the thing: shot her like in the chest, not in the head, after he chose, right? And why didn't he say everything's quiet, eat peace, motherfucker? And it's like, do you really? And it shoots her in the head. Um, why that happened, I don't know. I'm really confused by the ending too. It kind of seems like a torture for Goth later on. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Or kind of like a pet, which is cute. But I'm glad to see everybody made a recovery, right? And so that's awesome. And when they were exiting out, who do we see? Tell us, who do we see?
Matt Damon, Jason Bourne. No, I'm kidding.
Matt David just then they're screwed. Michael Myers.
No, so they're walking out of the barn after they kill the cow, and then all the butterflies besides Goth are basically dead. And then at the last second, the Justice League comes out of nowhere to like save the day at the last fucking, like, I felt like the Justice League in this movie or in the series were like the cops in every movie. Like when you like kill the bad guy or like save the girl, whatever, like the
Right.
cops just come at the last. Like that's basically what the Justice League was at this
Right.
moment. And it's so interesting because the Justice League, because like some of them were like silhouetted or like you
Mhm.
can really like see their faces. Like especially like Superman and Wonder Woman, but we'll talk about that. But we saw Jason Momoa's Aquaman, and we saw is it Ezra Miller?
Yes.
Ezra Miller's Flash. And it was so funny like hearing Aquaman say like "fuck you, Barry."
That's a great opportunity this
So
show
that
to do that.
was weird. I get because you know this series does take place in Suicide Squad and the bigger Snyderverse DCEU. But I don't know. It's funny because like I was talking about this earlier with Akram. I said like the thing that connected the scene that connected this most to the DCEU felt so much like a disconnect to the show because it was
Yeah.
just randomly thrown in there. I don't know. What do you think about it, Akram? Because
Yeah,
it's a really like big cameo for this series.
it's a huge cameo. I mean, and that's the thing. The DCEU has suffered so much because they've done it wrong since the start, and now you have actors that left. And mind you, we don't have Batman. I mean, there's no Wonder Woman there. Gal Gadot's not
That was a
filming.
weird thing. Like not seeing Batman either. That was such like a weird thing.
No, and no Cyborg as well.
Or
Like that was
Cyborg, yeah.
weird. Like it is it a cliche thing? Yeah, because maybe it's meant to be that though. Maybe it's meant to be like a joke. And it's also supposed to mean like a victory, like the underdogs, they got it, right? That's kind of like the Suicide Squad's whole thing. Like the underdogs kind of win at the end of the day. And it's kind of like I don't know, it just feels like really nice to see these people win without the help of like super beings, right? You don't even need all Justice League members. Just you could have Superman just fly down and go straight through the cow, right? But it's like to see that, and if they did that, it'll cheat the journey. Because again, a great story is not all about the main destination when you finally make it. It's about the journey, right? And all these characters, these bits and pieces are coming off of them, right? Slowly. And so how can you take these bits and pieces off Superman? Well, you have to do it a different way. But obviously he's invulnerable. These people aren't. And through these injuries, they grow, right? And I feel like that's really beautiful. So that moment right here, I feel is like primarily to be like a cliche thing, kind of funny, to kind of have drop like a F-bomb. But at the same time to show like, yeah, these guys are like actual heroes. It's not just Peacemaker. Like Autobio is like a hero. Vigilante, believe it or not, is a hero.
Economos.
Economos. I feel so bad for Mern though. That would have been such a great fight at the end. Like they probably say
R.I.P.
traitor, like in Star Wars Force Awakens, traitor or whatever, and then they
Right.
fight. But I mean, that was cool. I'm like, so I guess this takes place right before the Flash, because I forgot what comes first, Black Adam or Flash.
It's either because we also have the Aquaman movie. We still have
Right.
the Black Adam movie also. Damn, I forgot a lot about the DCU, to be
Oh,
honest with you. I just
Shazam.
it's kind of weird because like I don't know, it's like the anti like I like you know how like Marvel does a lot of like cameos like in their shows, like they pull like characters from like other movies or shows. I don't know, it's just weird when the DC does it because it feels like I feel like this situation like wasn't a Justice League level situation that they needed to show up. Like I mean, obviously, like Adebayo called her mom and was like, "Hey, we need bigger guns or whatever." I don't know, just seeing the Justice League show up at the last second and not even like the full Justice League. If you're gonna bring the Justice League, you gotta bring the full Justice League, right? Like Batman, like you said, Cyborg was missing too. So just having like four leaguers there, I don't know, just kind of felt weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't feel. I feel like it almost like took away a little bit because like this is Peacemaker, sure, like you said, like it's the underdogs at the end of the day that like save the world. And Peacemaker, it, he went through all that shit, all that self conflict at the end just for the Justice League to show up. Nah, that was like corny in my opinion. But it was funny. It was a little funny moment. But yeah, it's I mean it's great to see like, it's still relevant to the DCEU in a way. So, we still have those characters and I think they're just trying to expand that universe more a little bit, kind of like Marvel.
Yeah.
But what do you think about it?
I think what they should have done was I felt like they should have added. You know what would be cool? If Ben Affleck was like, without his issues and whatnot, and he actually was like on board. Don't have the Justice League. They called for the Justice League. Who shows up? Batman, because there were so many references, right? And Batman says like he's turning a new leaf, right? And in that small battle, he's revealing something else to Chris because Chris like always like this is on Batman, right? And in a way, they kind of show each other something in that small moment, and perhaps that could lead to the Flash. I feel like these little encounters kind of teach these characters different things, and you could kind of like really show it all and do so much in so little of time. That's the beauty of film, and it's like they didn't do that. I'm disappointed. I'm also disappointed that what's the guy's name? The old man that everyone thought he was Batmite. What if Batmite showed up at the end? No, but
That would be
um,
weird as shit.
that'll be even like that'll throw me. No, I'm mad because that wouldn't throw me off as much as like seeing the Justice League guys there. I feel like it's okay.
It would have made more sense, right?
Right. It's like I said, it's like a fun like little thing to have. Is it meant to be taken seriously? If you want to dig deep, I feel like the show you have to dig deeper. Or else it's just gonna be a full-on comedy with like sad moments, and you're gonna be confused, like, why is this sad? You have to dig deep. There are no like really a lot of Easter eggs or like references to comics and stuff like that. It's really about characterization. Replace the name Peacemaker, give him like a SWAT uniform, give everyone SWAT uniform. Don't call it Peacemaker. It's basically the same show, right? Maybe that SWAT guy went through a war or some shit like that. It's the same thing. And I find that beautiful because James Gunn, I feel like he crafted a new character that could go on forever in the comics, which they are doing now with like a new Peacemaker series. But let's go over those final moments where like it's kind of showing all these resolutions happening, and where do these characters go, which I thought one thing I might add, which I thought was really sweet, and I wonder if there's going to be like something going on, is Harcourt and Peacemaker. Actually, he's been waiting for her for weeks. She was in a hospital, she made it through. I felt like that was really sweet. So tell us what you thought about like all those little things that happen and those reveals.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, after all that, like you said, they're kind of just like recovering from this big battle. They've taken some time off. Harcourt was in the hospital because she had like a near fatal death. But she's like in rehab. We see her like trying to go through rehab, trying to like because I don't know if like she can really walk, but she's trying to get her motor functions back. Um, Economos, I don't know what happened with because they showed like a clip. He was in this was like this penitentiary or something. Maybe he's working
That's the Suicide
like
Squad one. Yeah, that's where the Suicide
at Belle
Squad
Reve,
is.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's like back working for them or maybe he just like found another job. But
That's weird.
we have a nice little moment. He saved the picture when they were in the band rocking out. So I thought that was like a neat little throwback. Adebayo, finally gets to be with her fiance. They get to start a life together. That she's been fighting this whole series to keep stable. And I mentioned this before, like, with Peacemaker having to like face his own, parental figure, she in a way has to confront her own. So she she goes off, and then Peacemaker's like, what are you gonna do now? And she's gonna be like, I'm gonna do the right thing. and then she has like this whole press conference, and then she like spills the tea on like what's been happening with like Task Force X, her own mother Amanda Waller, like, and then she's even says like I want like a full investigation like into everything that's been happening, and then we get another shot of Viola Davis, and she's just like, what the fuck?
Watching our podcast.
Yeah, watching our podcast. But yeah, so that really opens up the question, like what's gonna happen now with Suicide Squad? Is it gonna be disbanded? Is it gonna still run under Amanda Waller? Is possibly Harcourt gonna take over? I want to know your predictions, but before that, we also see Chris. He's back home. He's in his trailer with Eagly. He has a nice little sit down, and then yeah, we see Goff. So he actually spared Goff, which actually we saw, because it's funny because like Goff like crawled out of that detective, but I thought like he was gonna just like fly off or like get in his one of those like tiny little hot toy spaceships and just like fly off or something. He goes to your room or something
By Razor Crest.
right. But that's funny that he decided to stay with Chris, and I think it's really a respect thing, because I feel like he felt bad that Peacemaker felt bad that he kind of committed genocide to his entire race. So I think just sparing Goff was just kind of like, because he did spend time with Goff, and Goff even like told him, I wanted peace. That's why I made the peace sign in the jar. So they really have like the similar like philosophy, and even like their methodology in the way that they think of peace, peace through like enforcement, right? But I think that was like a sweet little moment. Like he's sitting with Eagly and Goff, and he even like, I wonder like how much like food he has, like from the cow. I wonder if there was like a reserve thing, and he just kept all the nutrients.
Oh,
So maybe
true.
he's just giving Goff like, I don't know, like a supply amount until like he dies off or something. Um, and then he also has like a sit down, with his ghost of a father figure. So that was a great shot, like zooming out, um, you know, just because Chris, at the end of the day, like, and then obviously like peace vigilante, like they're still like fucking around and just like doing like superhero shit, which I thought was funny. I hope we get like a vigilante spin-off like down the road.
That'll be so fun.
Right. But yeah, so it ended on a great note, and obviously we're gonna get season 2. I wonder like where they're gonna go, because like you said, he had like a characterization moment. He figured out who he really wanted to be. I don't know if he's there yet, but he's getting closer to that goal, right? To becoming like the hero that he wants to be in the eyes of the people, instead of becoming like a supervillain like most people like view him as. But tell me your thoughts. Like, what do you like see going down the road from the show?
For sure, more internal struggles. I feel like the perception is he's always been a villain, and like in a way that's something captivating, where like his father is kind of like his connection to his villain side. So it's like he is in a way an anti-hero, and I feel like that's how he kind of stays connected to that realm of like, is he a villain or not? Because his father. Now, will his father influence his actions later on? Perhaps. I've never heard of this before in the comic books. But going on, I feel like season 2 will have different enemy. A lot of people are putting their money on like characters like Prometheus, a common Batman villain, or like an old school Peacemaker villain, and they'll probably do a redesign of that. My money is on something that'll like possibly be connected to like a Flash movie or something like that. I kind of feel like it's not really so much like a small team going forward. I feel like, or it could be in a way like a moment of rediscovery. Like, how am I going to rebrand myself? What kind of Peacemaker will I be? What kind of costume change that I might have to sell figures? I hope that McFarlane does figures for these the Peacemaker show. 'Cause I want a vigilante figure so bad. But yeah, it's all about rediscovery too. Once you break down, um, you need to rediscover, right? And it's funny because goth is so, I mean, that's the food source, that goo, right? And it almost seems like an addiction. That's why I said it's kind of like a torture. But like when you're addicted, you kind of have to rediscover yourself, and you kind of have to make amends with the people that you've hurt. So in a way, uh, theoretically, Peacemaker's kind of addicted to this alter ego that he has. So now he has to rediscover that, and he has to really break down the final walls. And I feel like the next season is going to be a lot more beautiful because if anything, this season wasn't like too focused on DC elements. It was really focused on uh, the heart and the good times and the fucking rock times. You know what I mean? It's just like I feel like we're gonna see more of that. I want to see more vigilante. Maybe there's gonna be more threesomes. I don't know. And hopefully Harcourt is cool. Economos, maybe they're gonna work together, or maybe Harcourt actually realizes like, yeah, you know what? I was gonna lead this team. I don't think it's for me. Maybe she's gonna find something else. I don't know. And hopefully Eagly eats a lot of rodents. But tell us what you think.
Yeah, great points.
Thank you.
I definitely agree with everything you just said. Yeah, because I'm not like too like familiar with Peacemaker's like villains, so I can't really. Maybe they'll pull from other villains from DC too. Maybe the team has to come back together again because they set up these great characters. So I think like we also we forgot Judo Master.
Oh, that was so
The
funny. I
ending
know.
scene when he showed up in the field and he's like crying, but he's still eating the Cheeto.
Yeah, I know. I want to
I
see
felt so
more.
bad.
Oh
That's his
my God.
villain origin story.
He changes the costume color now after that for some reason.
Just for that. But yeah, I think they could definitely go bigger. I love the style that James Gunn really like puts on this show. It's so much like what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. And even just like the titling of the songs. I hope like next season like we get like a cool new theme song intro.
Oh boy.
Like
To
I wonder
top
if they're gonna keep the same theme song or maybe it's just like a different rock song. But I
maybe
love
we'll
like the
see.
'80s like rock themes in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, because also like you said, he does have to rediscover and rebrand himself. Maybe he takes like his dad's technology. Because remember, once his dad's dead, he still has that whole lab, to himself now. So maybe he tries to like use his dad's technology for good instead of evil, right?
Mm.
So maybe he upgrades the white dragon armor into something that's more heroic or iconic. But he still has like all his weapons and his helmets and stuff. So maybe he has like you said, like a cool new costume next season where he's like really like upgraded. Maybe like him and Vidge have to like, I don't know, maybe they're going off doing like assignments for like the government or something, or like I don't know. It could be something, anything they want really, because it's such like it strays. It's not like a really defined series, kind of like Suicide Squad. It kind of like does its own thing. It's not too worried about trying to be like big and bombastic like Avengers or Justice League, or like having like tie-ins from like characters from the DCU. It's like you said, it's focused on just that's what the show is called. So it's just called Peacemaker, right? It's not called Peacemaker and Vigilante or like Falcon Winter Soldier. It's about him really. So just like him discovering himself, trying to become more of a hero and less like a villain. And really just like re-entering like society, because now he's out of jail. Now he's still trying to like figure out, how to adjust to society now. But I love this show. I think I would give it. I think I would give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. What would you rate it?
I think I give it like a 9. A good solid 9, if not 10. I don't know. I really enjoyed the show. I mean, it was really short, but that's like this day and age. Every show's like short. I give it like realistically like a 9 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so too. Yeah, like you said, it was short, but it was fun. I think like nowadays, like even like with superhero shows, like I mean like WandaVision, you could say did this, but like we need like shows where it's like it's not too serious. You can have like a little fun with it, each episode. But I did like the week to week thing really added to like the cliffhanger moments. Like, oh, you think somebody's gonna die or somebody's not gonna die. So I think that like differentiates in the way that like Netflix like produces shows in a way. Will we potentially see other Suicide Squad members have their own show, like maybe Harley Quinn or or what was his name?
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. I'm sorry. Or even Deadshot, maybe, because I think Will Smith even stated he's had an interest in seeing more of Deadshot.
I love that.
So we'll just have to see. But I'm so glad for this show. Can't wait to talk more DC projects, more Marvel projects down the road. Thank you guys for watching this review. Like I said, this is our last episode of season 2 of our podcast. It was a fun ride. Can't wait. More stuff to come down the road. So make sure you're subscribed to our podcast, YouTube, Anchor, and now Apple Podcasts, and of course Spotify. So we have a lot of great episodes out already. Check them out if you can. We also have playlists marked already. If you haven't checked out Akram's channel, Green Steel, also, he does a lot of great essays and video documentaries on the same shows as well. So thank you guys again for joining us. And until then, thank you for having lunch with us.
See you guys.